Already know the vibes. It's Naga. I'm in here right now because I came to drop a jewel with y'all. First and foremost, I got them graphic designs, advertising, and promotional skills. So if you need that, contact me ASAP. It's $75 a day, $250 a week, $850 a month. You know what I'm saying? If you contact me today, I'll throw in some extra incentives. The information is always on the screen or in the description. You can contact me ASAP for your promotional advertising needs. I got you. Holla at me. This is what I do. All right. So make sure you contact me ASAP. All right. Peace.
When I finish, y'all, for the reason for real niggas that never should have fall, for the reason for fake niggas who sweaty on the ball. Yo, I don't got questions like, what the fuck they hating for? Because the matter of your opinion is not something I'm waiting on. I let the hate fuel the propaganda with rocket force. I'm birthed from steel coming out the fire force. Who sweaty hot as George? For one reason, I'm foreseeing the four coming. I'm be dumping fours out of this four runner on four boys running. I swear to y'all, these niggas foresaw nothing. Divine. I'm so cold like fours below zero. I'm foregone like Heron up in the forearm. My four strong like 44 Yodas and 444 Obi-Wans. 4,000 descended soldiers, Genghis Khan. Hannibal seed, 400 million of these. The combined power to one and four Elohim. I give you musical keys with four CeeLo greens and blaze past you four times because I don't see low green. Let me give it to you in four scenes. Forget the streets, focus on the track. Four songs, copyright that. Don't forget to publish that. Record pool your hard copy. 50 might get it, but 40 ought to cover that. And I'm done with that. This is second fourth or the 44 fours for all you.
Tried to get it real quick before it went out. YouTube shit. You already know the vibes, man. So I came back just to build with y'all real quick because my experiences, they got lessons. So I figured I can share some of the lessons that I've been learning in particular circumstances that might be um useful for other people who go through certain things. Be mindful of particular people who are willing to use you as the butt of a joke. Be mindful of particular people who offer some said form of friendship, value, family, but don't answer to these calls as inexplicable as it may be. Don't let your mind get carried away by the value of time and connection. You know how most people be like, I've known this person for this long, or this my family and they knew me since I was a baby. Don't get wrapped up in none of that shit. And be mindful what you ask the divine for. Because when you start to see, seeing is not always, you're not always going to see good things. You're going to see things that's going to make you be like, damn, that's what I'm seeing right now. You know what I'm saying? And you can't unsee once you see, you know what I mean? And be mindful of people who willing to lie right to your face when you know the truth, man. Look, there's so many stories I can tell about a person that's just a cold-blooded liar, but at the end of the day, I seen everybody behind that person be the fool to that person's characteristic. Most people who have these dangerous characters that they carry within their life, they haven't just started this. They've been mastering the art of being fucked up for a long time. And you got to be willing to see that. You know what I'm saying? Some people you'll have love for and trust for, but they'll look at you with another person's mentality. So somebody else will speak on your name and they'll judge you that way. There's no true energy unless you can offer somebody something, right? Like this is the value of the world that we live in right now. So you're not even important in your family unless you can give somebody something. You know what I'm saying? So I understand these values and you got to be mindful. Be mindful of how you raise your children, telling them about what they need to receive from the world because they're going to be these people. This is what these people are going to turn into. So you got to be mindful of teaching your daughters about get the bag if the man ain't got the bag, da 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 da. Because you know what, they're going to turn around and come to you for that shit eventually. Be mindful what you teach your sons about telling them, about ethic and about, values and stuff of those natures. Because when it's time for them to humble down with the energy, the true energy of the universe, everybody got to walk through that path. And it's going to be your fault lying to your children. It's going to be your fault producing this image of what you think is right because of the things you went through in your own life. You got to be mindful. You got to be mindful. You're not just mature on a age level, you're supposed to be spiritually mature as well. And most people don't even understand what that means. Moreover than thinking you are given a standpoint because of your age to stand in front of somebody and demand obedience. That's not reality. It'll never be reality. But then, you get the groups of people on different planes that'll sit around and talk like they can. Like judgment is only good enough for them because of whatever understanding that they came across, despite the value of the divine's understanding of everything. You gotta be mature. You gotta be emotionally mature. You gotta be spiritually mature, and you have to be an adult. These are the values that come with living. It's a three and everything. If you heard me do the bill before, when I was talking about it's three levels to master, when I was telling you it's the higher self, it's the physical self, and it's your shadow self. Well, everything falls in threes. Everything is in threes. You have three levels of maturity. You have three levels of spirituality. You got three levels of self. You got three levels of understanding. You know what I'm saying? Everything falls in threes. So whether people notice or not, you can see a person's reaction by understanding their conductivity to the level of threes that they're dealing with. Most people don't have that true level of 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 completion within their whole self. They don't have the all level of threes. It's not locked in with them as a particular understanding. They have one level of maturity and everything else is bullshit. You know what I'm saying? You have to be mindful of that because people give up in life so easy, and they'll give up on their family. They'll let things down. They'll turn away from different values because they've given up within their self, lack thereof of them making the right decisions and choices in their past. Me personally, I'm a prime candidate of always making the right decision that would have did good for my family, but my family never liked my decisions because they wanted to not see me succeed in certain attributes. And I'm gonna stay away from those stories right now because I don't wear shit on my sleeve. But what you won't make me do is be quiet about my truth. So the right situation and right time, I'm gonna speak my truth because it has to be spoken. Like you can't live in a false world, do things and expect nobody never to say nothing about what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like in this world, like most people try to promote a value of fear or like they gonna do something to you because you whatever standing on truth. I ain't never been moved by nobody in their attempts to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, the divine is the most powerful and the most respected, and all praise goes to that first and foremost. Um, I sit down and I look at the values of the attempts that people do to have you involved in the emotional concept of value. You got to keep in mind, anger is based off the value of someone else's interpretation of how they want you to feel. So just because they're doing something to you doesn't mean you have to respond in these particular ways. It's based on that book because the book's ending story ends in the fact that you get some type of emotional concept out of that. And if you don't respond emotionally to the way that they want you to be, what does that make them look like? Boo boo the fool. You got to understand these verses and vibrations that individuals create in some form of a standpoint because this is the ultimate goal that they're looking to prove. It's almost like what happened to the black culture at one point. Do this to them and watch them act in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Press the red button and watch the button go to the first floor. So we got to be mindful of these individuals that might be in your life or around you, somebody that you might be aware of. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't go through things in life and not be aware that individuals that you know may have a particular understanding with them that is based off the value of how you feel. I have so-called friends that call themselves friends in my life, but to sit around with my family and talk trash behind my back like I didn't know that was a reality. And what was more important was the fact that the loyalty is easily divided by by concepts of reality. So there's nothing from a certain time that I can take with me. There's nothing there because it showed his loyalty, it showed his respect and value, right? And you gotta also be mindful to these understandings, so therefore you don't get yourself in a long-term commitment with values that are not simultaneously reciprocal to the actions that you provide for anybody you choose to get into these connections with. This is a majority of the time the situations that end up in bad outcomes because before you know it, you've put all your emotional concepts into these values and your belief and your trust and whatever else comes with that. I've ran into some of the most making excuses as people ever in my life. They just make excuses just because they want to side with someone or make excuses because of the fact that they don't have your best interests at heart. You got to keep in mind how these things actually play out and what it means to have these particular understandings exist. Ultimately, you don't have to be a victim to none of these things. Real friends are going to be real friends no matter what. They're not going to talk behind your back and try to make things worse for you. They're not going to try to paint a picture of you to someone else who don't know you in a way to where it's not beneficial for you. That's important. You got to be mindful of these type of people. It's not about what they do in front of you, it's about what they do behind your back. And that's always the most important thing. I say this time and time again, just because I don't say nothing don't mean I don't know. And sometimes if I'm around somebody, I'll get quiet and people be like, yo, what's wrong? It's because I already seen them stabbing me in my back in some form or fashion. Life ain't it's not what it's supposed to be. And people say life ain't fair. Well, life could be fair if everybody played the correct roles they should play in life. But people don't do that because not for nothing, they're hurt. And when you're a hurt individual, you become more of an animalistic character. You become a person that moves like an animal. So you have to lie and attack. And what's going on? So you have to lie and attack and take from people in a certain energy to where you know that your pains is what allowed you to be in this particular way of thinking in the first place. The ultimate thing is to have emotional control, spiritual control. You're manifesting the maturity of these levels. And for the most part, people go through certain understandings that don't allow them to have the maturity of none of these levels. So then your actions tell how you treat individuals that should be held close to you. How do you decide which should be held close to you? Because it'll treat you as such. And once you understand these are the people that you want to protect, you don't look at it in the reverse aspect. Now, we might be speaking to the people outside of the ones who may be trying to damage individuals who have this particular type of soul. Knowing that you are good in the motions of who you are and how you carry yourself, that should always be respected first and foremost. But you can't expect animals to treat you that way. Their design is animalistic, so they're going to treat you that way. If an animal wants meat, it's going to rip it off the hind leg of another dying animal. So this is how humans act when they lie, cheat, stab you in the back, talk behind your back, whatever that comes with these particular negative energies. They are simultaneously in the position of animals at this point. So how do you contend with that? How do you bring yourself to some form of connection to these individuals who don't have your best interests at hand? Who are not willing to reciprocate the same energy that you're willing to give and protect them with. So you have to be emotionally mature, you have to be spiritually mature, you have to be physically mature So therefore, when your emotions hit your physical, you don't feel it as much as they're intended to be. Everything is an intention. And once you understand that one thing might lead to another just to get you out of your character, then it's the fact of making you lose your grace. It's the fact of making you lose your higher vibration. Why would you want to do that? Divine don't make mistakes. People always are gonna make mistakes and try to fix them. And that is a part tied to a level of truth. But it's a thin line in between that being real and it being just something someone wants to do. My grandfather used to say, if you do it right the first time, you don't have to fix it later. And that's a fact. So for the most part, I try to move in a way that I want to be treated. I try to move in a particular energy that balances to the right vibration, no matter what circumstance. Even if people don't see it as something they should pay homage to, I'd rather have you fail at seeing it than think that I would not be the right individual to give that to you. I'd rather be the unicorn or the individual that doesn't seem to exist in no category than not give that level of grace to someone, anyone. I think we should move in the level of respect and love in all our emotions. And if we're not able to do that, then what are you doing with life? Because you're going to eventually have to be in that situation anyway. So the best thing to do is to master it while you have the opportunity, right? You meet so many people in a day, you deal with so many circumstances in a day. When will you choose to just be yourself? And the self that got sent from divine, not the self that was created by the actions of the world. It gets real important when you really start to sit down and ask yourself, why did you act this certain way? Why did you say this that way? Why did you look? Why'd your face twist this way? Why'd you respond? Why'd you do all these different questions should come to you? And that's what with any person that you deal with in existence. You should always question your actions and wonder why you carry in that particular negative frequency. I naturally come off as a person that wants to understand everything that comes around me. I want to know, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to connect. That's what frequencies do. They're the counterpart of what a frequency is. It connects to other things. It has to go through you, be filtered through you, and come out. So how do you want to get it? It's just like having three different ways of saying fuck you. You know what I'm saying? Like you can say, fuck you, my nigga. Bitch ass nigga. It's funny. But then you could say it more aggressive. Then it's like it's starting to sound like danger behind that. You could say it even more aggressive, or you could say it sarcastically. These are the values that come with the particular energies. You have to know when not to take certain things serious, even if that's its intention to have you take it serious. It's a lonely world. I believe, moreover, it's not too many people in this world like me. And if me fighting to be righteous and stand on some forms of value, then I guess alone that's what I'm gonna have to be because I'm not going backwards, yo. And I don't even feel sorry for people who carry that energy and don't or won't change their understanding to a divine circumstance. But what I do know is if you're willing to take the walk and do the work, so therefore you can grow from the pains that you may hold down within your own energy, then it's a clear-minded thing to how you can reorganize the subsequent value of energies that you deal with on a normal basis. I spend tons and tons of time by myself. And out of the tons and tons of times that I spend by myself, what I've learned is I'm not as important to others as they might have let on. And that's okay with me. That's fine with me. But once I realized this as a circumstance, I I played the role I should play. And I think that's what people bake on you not doing, is standing on the fact of how their actions are truly. Because most people do shit undermined or underhanded to try to affect you in a certain way. And once you understand that it's not in the service of how you should be treated, then you have another altitude that you can stand on, because it's the retrospect to the value. Believe me, I've been treated by shit by a lot of family members, and they have never heard my voice ever again. Probably won't. I've tried to reconnect the different family members, and they treat me like that's not a reality. So I start to pull my energy back. I've loved family members for so long, and then I understand that my love was only coming from me. It wasn't coming towards me, and I had to stop doing it. And most people will wonder, how is it so easy for you to do that? It's because you're showing me how. You're showing me where I stand. You see what I'm saying? It's almost like saying you had your keys to the car, and then you put your keys down somewhere, and now you walk out of the place not responsible for your keys, and now you're wondering, where are my keys? Well, your keys would be with you if you was paying attention to them, right? So that's the same energy that you hold when you respect or have love for different people. You protect them, you take care of them, you respect them. Even when you're not around them, you treat them like they're important. So when you do those type of things, and if you're attracting the right people and they do those type of things, you're always going to feel safe whether you're with them or not. You're always going to feel a different type of level of energy, because that's the energy they're going to carry for your name and your vibration. But what happens when you don't take care of something important like your car keys, or, a necklace or a ring that somebody gave you, and you lose it, right? It's gone. You can't find it. It fell down the sewer somewhere. You dropped it in a drain or whatever. You left it at somebody's house and somebody stole it. You didn't care about it enough to put protection on it. So when it disappears and you can't put your hands quite on that, what does that mean? That means you didn't take care of it like you cared about it. And that's the only inference of energy that actually exists. The world got y'all out here tripping, telling you to treat your counterpart this way, or treat this person that way, or do this to this, or whatever. And got y'all all in your ego, but the only thing you're supposed to do is love the fact of the life that you're given and other lives that are given to you for you to be around, because divine created everything. Put divine back on the pedestal first and foremost. A lot of people don't want to look at life that way. They want to look at it how they see fit and obtain whatever materialistic value that comes with it. And that's what makes you happy. Well, hey, go for it if you think that's what divine intended. But once individuals wake up to the value of how they're treated and understand they don't have to be treated that way, how long is it going to take for them to separate that value? And then everybody ends up going from being the popular idiots to the lonely ones. Everything happens in mass amounts on this planet. It'll never change. Eventually, everybody will be carrying the same sword. It's just what it is. The minds of everybody is on one wavelength. Like, as soon as one thing pops up, everybody eventually gets it anyway. So the plan is not to point out individual pains. The plan is for you to deal with it. So therefore, your image of being right to that negative energy ripples through. And hopefully, because you stood in the image of these things that happen to you, it can change the outcome of other people not understanding what to do. So now there is something standing the way you should stand. I hope you feel this vibration through the ether. And if just me being right to doing the right thing is enough, then I hope it's enough, because all praise due to the Most High. Shit, I'm lonely. I'm by myself. I got divine, but being with the right people is a fun thing. Being around people who care is a fun thing. Caring for other people is a fun thing. It feels good. It feels good to me. That's who I am down in my core, and I can never not be who I am. But the first and foremost, how can I do that if my machine is not taken care of first? How can I be a certain way if my machine is not cared for? And if it's not getting cared for by what I thought to choose as family, friends, etc., I have to do that care for myself. And that may cause me to separate from the individuals who don't reciprocate that energy. Clear, clear. Clearly, it's a pure understanding to retrospect. And some people hold on to a value of old mentalities that never was in service. They was just too blind to see that it was real from a time of manipulation. The days are changing all the time. The circumstances are getting better. People are getting more in tune to the understanding of how we should be in this world. And I hope eventually everybody does get it. I don't wish no negativity on no one. I hope soon everybody gets it and you can carry yourself in the right way and let that be the truth that reigns supreme in your life. So therefore you are truly appreciated, not for false circumstances, but because of how you truly care and the original feelings that come out of you. And if you're not like that, just state it. Stand on your truth. And if you want to learn how to fix it, that's how you fix it. Remove the bad apples from around your life and work on making yourself shine once again. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm just trying to show you something. You already know the vibes. Naga.